This is the Wenning Strength Podcast, brought to you by Wenning Strength and Wenning Strength Media. For printed copies of match training manuals, custom equipment, online coaching and analysis, and information on upcoming seminars, go to wenningstrength.com. For DVDs, digital downloads, and digital copies of all of Matt's manuals, go to wenningstrengthmedia.com. This is part 3, so if you haven't already checked out part 1 and part 2, make sure you do that first. Also, at the end of this episode, we've tacked on a little extra piece that we recorded before we sat down with Kaz for the podcast. We took a walk through Matt's gym, and Kaz wanted to see Matt's custom equipment, so they walked through the gym, and Kaz shared a couple more stories with us. Also, to celebrate the release of this podcast and our time with Kaz, we are offering a discount on any purchase made through wenningstrengthmedia.com. Use discount code KAZ, that's KAZ, and you'll receive 15% off any item or combination of items through wenningstrengthmedia.com. You can use that discount on any of Matt's digital training manuals, digital videos, or DVD, or the combination of any of those items. Again, that's 15% off using discount code KAZ.
I mean, let's talk about that belt squat, because I sure wish I would have done that, and I can tell you what I did that circumvented the heavy stresses of the low back for gaining better lower body strength, if you want to hear that. And your adaptation with your dumbbell row for that machine is kind of innovative. I would want to speak to that also. Which do you want first?
Your choice. Whichever.
Okay.
But
to take stress off the low back, of course, you use your machine. It's phenomenal. I did the same thing with a rack on my shoulders and one leg at a time. Now imagine a 20-inch box. In Europe, we say half a meter, right? And a power rack. And 2 4-inch straps welded together with a plate, a peg in the front and back, tubing, with a cap on each to hold the plates. The front one, you cut the front of the cap off, so now you have a place to stick a 1-inch rod at a diagonal on your power rack. So you can step in and out of this thing. It weighs about 40 pounds. Well, I did body weight, and it's not up with one back, it's not track and field. It's boom, 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 boom with a sewing machine. Limp the back leg, go, go, go. You put 100 pounds on, and then you put 200 pounds on. And then you drop to like 15s and 20s. I went 350 pounds for sets of 15 on one leg. Now, if you do your math with the body weight, you're not getting 2/3. You're probably getting 3/4, because the only thing you're not lifting is that.
Your shank.
So that's like about 1,200 pound for reps.
That's
and it takes the stress off the low back.
That's why I always tell people, especially with my fire
hip.
departments and my special forces guys, is get strong isolateral. Because it takes a lot of pressure off your back, and it makes the legs have to work immensely harder. Because nobody calculates the body weight on top of the weight you're carrying as well.
I encourage people to put a backpack on, or 2 backpacks on to keep it balanced. 10 kilos in front, 10 kilos in the back, body weight at first, get up to 100 pounds and you're doing something. I went ahead at a truck pull against O.D. Wilson, 6'6" and 450 pounds.
He was a monster.
We're over in Iceland. We're going to give a seminar, and we do, and he talks about what it's like to want to be the world's strongest man, but he's a wannabe. I told everybody what it was like to be 3 times the world's strongest man. He got in the van, and he was mad. He wouldn't say a word. We got back to the hotel. He got out of the van. He slammed the door. And then he was just huffing and puffing. He was really wound up. He got inside the hotel. There's a big foyer, 30 feet tall. He gets a distance away halfway through, and he turns around and he goes, Kazmaier, you shouldn't have said it. I said, what, O.D.? You always got to be the best. I go, hey, baby, you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. I'm whining, because I got him tomorrow. And finally, he goes to bed. I don't think he slept a wink that night.
So you already got him.
Well, we're going to do truck pull. Big semi-trailer. Well, we're in Iceland. John Paul Sigmarsson won't compete because it's not his promoter, his referee, his events, the stack job. So it's me and O.D. And with some of the Icelanders. And, that was back when Magnus Ver was really not much. So we're doing truck pull, and, there he is, 450 and 6'6". He's got me, right? I'm 330. I get down. I got claws. I sink him into the asphalt. I'm rubbing my nose. See, it's still red. Rubbing my nose on the asphalt. He's just walking along. I beat him.
So I remember that video, because that was one of the first videos I remember seeing you, and I remember, holy shit, look at his arms and shoulders, because that year your upper body was so jacked. I mean, it didn't even. It looked like an athlete compared to a hot dog eating champion.
But now that was still late in the '80s, and at the end of my career, I was nowhere near the kind of shape I was in the early '80s.
Yeah.
But so we're in those competitions, and halfway through the comp, I beat him in almost every event. And he grabs the microphone and he goes, "Mr. Kazmaier, I want to apologize." Nobody knows what the hell he's talking about because we were arguing in the damn.
You do.
Yeah, and he was a great guy. And I have so many OD stories where the guy's amazing. But when you're looking at strength through history and you're going, what hurts my career, what hurts my mind most is you ask me to tell you about the fun times and the great lifters and who do I think would be here and there, and all I seem to talk about is John Paul Sigmarsson, who squatted 780.
Yeah,
I did 10 reps at 800.
Right.
5 at 850 and 3 at 900.
Yeah. So
he benched 480.
Okay.
I did 15 at 500.
Yeah, I know.
I did. His deadlift was 830 for 1. Yeah. I did 3 5s at 805, 2 5s at 8 1/4.
Yeah.
And his best lifts were my training weights. I did a light bench once, 473 for 4 sets of 12. Mm-hmm. His best bench was 480. Who's stronger?
Yeah.
No
comparison.
But if you're selling skyr yogurt out of your dairy and he's on the cover of your yogurt dish, and you do 20 shows in the summer with Davey Webster, Highland Games, and John Paul is your champion, what events are you going to take to Huntley Castle for the Ultimate Challenge, for the dethroning of a legend?
Yeah.
I printed that shirt that said, there can be only one.
Yeah.
And there he is on top of the damn castle screaming it out, stealing my stick. But, there he is also on a piece of plywood, 40 inches off the ground. If you fall off the back, you're going to fall 30 feet. You're going to die. So I take the log and I go to press it and I lose my balance because I can't take a step. I'm scared shitless. They knew how to play with your mind. He put the log on top of his head, which is totally illegal.
Right.
He stepped underneath the deadlift. They said, "Bill, you can pick 3 of the 9 lifts." I said, "All right, let's press, and press." And I left it at that.
Yeah.
And they said, "Oh, anything for you, Bill?" I said, "Well, okay, make sure one thing. In the deadlift, make sure it's a 1-inch bar." It was an 1.5 inch by 9 inch slab that John Paul figured out how to scoot underneath and then stand up.
Yeah, like a leg press.
And you know who was judging? Bill Anderson, Highland Games world champion, would not know a deadlift from a dead horse.
Yeah.
And Webster wouldn't even do it because he knew what they were going to do.
Oh my goodness.
And the stones and the wheelbarrows, he'd played with those things hundreds of times. They wouldn't tell me what the events were.
This would have been what year or what?
Like the 80. No, that would have been the Huntley Castle, Jeff Capes, and John Paul and myself.
How was Jeff Capes? Was he pretty jacked, pretty strong back in his day?
Not really. He dropped out of that event. I wanted to get to another.
Too impressive to me, like build wise.
Well, they keep saying he was stronger than me. Shit, he was a shot putter.
Yeah.
He didn't have any power.
Yeah.
He could sure throw a shot in some different events. But in this Huntley Castle deal, we had a rope, a sack of rocks over a pulley with a rope. The next year, we had the film crew come in for the Stirling Castle. At dinner, they said, "Bill, it was a freaking nightmare last year at Huntley. You beat both those guys by 1.5 seconds. We had to hide like 31 frames in a second. Their time, we had to hide 50-some frames. We didn't know what to do. They gave you 3rd place. It's like, how many times are you going to stuff somebody?
Yeah.
Every chance you get. For one of the first World's Strongest Man competitions in Budapest, first event, car turnover. Let's put Bill first with Laszlo Fekete so we won't be able to tell how fast he's going. Oh, but here's what we're going to do. In the car turnover, we're not going to set the brake. We're not going to put it in gear. We're not going to chalk the far tire. Chalk meaning in the door.
Right.
We're going to chalk the near tire, and it's on a hill. Guess what's going to happen to that 800-some pounds that Bill's got in his hands when it starts rolling downhill? Boop. You would never have seen an ankle so purple. In 2 hours, it was ugly.
Ugh.
And
so you seem to have gotten shafted on a few of those things. So
So wait, was it political or was it just mishandling? They didn't know what the hell they were doing.
Manipulation all the way. They knew exactly what they were doing. When they gave me the 56-pound weight toss over the bar, 50 meters out on a pier in the middle of a lake, feet by the edge of the pier,
wobbly,
disorientation.
Yeah.
If he practiced every day on his porch, no, I had the world record at over 18 feet. I missed 15. They knew what they were doing.
Was it because they wanted a certain champion, or were they just trying to make good TV?
That's how it always is, and it's always been that way. And when I just said a minute ago, it's a shame when you ask me highlights, great lifters. I never went to watch the little guys. We only lifted the super heavyweights. It was tunnel vision. When I told you about lifting against Smith and Paul Wren, and in the hoodie. Paul called me all kinds of names. He's a Christian guy that said, these young guys don't give you any respect. Earn my respect, man.
Yeah.
And so the problem is then I've forgotten all the good times.
Yeah.
I've harped on all this crap because that's all it was.
Yeah.
I was so much stronger than all these guys.
Yeah.
But you can figure out a way to beat them.
Yeah.
Let's take Gary Taylor, unbelievable bodybuilder, Olympic lifter, power lifter, strongman. He's doing the stones. I did the stones, all 5. First guy to do them. Tore my tricep off 8 weeks before competition.
Yeah.
Beat everybody in that comp. The stones the next weekend at 9 weeks. I'm the first to do the stones. 1, 3, 5, 4, 2 on my second day.
Yeah.
They wouldn't give me any glue.
Yeah.
But so it's those things happening that just kind of.
So what was the reasoning behind them not inviting you back to do the strongman after the third time?
I beat Capes by 27.5 points.
Right.
There is no competition. They're calling this a rivalry. Yeah. You got to have a rival before you get a rivalry, boy.
Yeah, sure.
Because I'm kicking ass and taking names.
Did they just not invite you back?
Right.
Like, so the world's strongest man.
It's a lot like
what happened?
Michael Jordan and the NBA championships 10 years ago, not being invited to the finals.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you're too good.
Well, for our listeners, and because I love watching strongman, I always have. But can you talk a little bit about, because I don't understand, can you talk about who makes that decision? Is there a committee? Like, who, is it owned by one company?
Yeah, I'm still trying to work for them. And,
okay, so never mind.
So, yeah, and you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out politics.
Yeah.
And if you want want somebody in office, if you think that somebody voted for our last 25 presidents and put him into office, it would have been the Electoral College at best.
Right.
And your vote
Doesn't
is so damned important, you better get out there and vote. You patriot, you.
Yeah.
Damn you if you don't.
Yeah, I just wondered back in the day because I knew that was some big stink about you were so dominant, such an ass kicker.
So it just seems like they thought they would get more ratings with closer competition.
In that 81, it was 10 men, 10 events, tied for 1 first, so 6 first, 2 seconds, 3rd, and a 4th after tearing the back off. Mm-hmm. The next year, they moved the barrels farther back. I concentrated on the chest. I wasn't in such great shape. I still won by a sizable margin. Mm-hmm. It was never really close. And a lot of hard times. If you were going to encapsulate, a couple things about Kazmaier, it's the measure of a man, how you react on a bad day.
Yeah.
When you're injured, do you lay down? Do you look for pity? Do you let people walk all over you? Do you pop back up? Make a plan, step back, and either go over, under, around, or through your obstacle. Things that I try to teach people that I'd share in seminars are that you're only as strong as your weakest link in a chain. Mm-hmm. The biggest problem in any problem is realizing you have it. Once you've exposed it, you now can fix it.
I think that's the biggest problem, that when I try to teach people how to train properly, we're using a system that brings about your weaknesses. And I tell people it's okay to fail. It's okay to know your weaknesses and train those and not feel like you're going to be able to run through a wall. If you do that all the time and you're used to exposing the problem and training it, you're always used to training around obstacles. You'll get way stronger and not get hurt nearly as much, which was my philosophy,
I'll give your viewers, how many of them you got? How many are watching right now?
Well, we had 140,000 people watch us shopping for 4. So
yeah, but he's got 1 million followers. I've only got 50,000. I just got 1,000 in the last day or so. But
we'll have a lot, I'm sure.
Okay, I got one for you. And this is, I have to talk to kids, so you have to break it down. A lot of your stuff is a little more advanced, and you're a guy who not only walks the walk, but you can talk the talk.
Yeah.
A lot of guys take a weekend course, have never lifted weight, and they try to talk the talk with one credential and personal train people. I go, what the fuck's going on?
Then the other side of it is they have all the credentials, but no meathead experience, no real world experience.
I get a lot of PhDs or college guys laughing at me because I don't know what I'm doing. But here's what I do. I'll take a picture of a lift. Back in the day when you used to go in the dark room and put it in the fluid and you bring it back out, you got an 8.5 by 11 a picture. You now take a scissors and cut it into a puzzle. As a child, you might have in your puzzle circles, squares, triangles, rectangles. Each one fits in its place. It has its purpose. So do your muscles within concentric and eccentric parts of the movement. If you figure out the relevance of each muscle and how it works and how you're going to, how it works and an understanding of it and how to work it, and you have the unit together and you see how it functions, then you take it apart and work on your weaknesses. Let your strengths just sit, and then put it back together, take it apart, put it together, take it apart. One of my favorites is talking about an airplane that you bought when you were a child. You bring it out of the box, you break all the pieces off, and you start putting it together. It doesn't fit so well, so you take your razor knife and you cut little edges off, and now you got the wings on, and you put the decals on, and you paint it. And it just, it's almost perfect. You refine it over time. Then you put an M80 in it with 2 screws on the top, and the clothesline, and you light it, shoot it across the lawn, boom, it blows up, and you got your war. But, so it's the little analogy. Let's think of it this way. You want something. So many people go, I want. Well, all they're doing is reaching. They're never going to get there. Do you ever play toy soldiers? As a child, you got 1,000 soldiers. There's your objective. Line them all up. Start flanking them. Moving around. Each guy does what he's supposed to do. He's got a mission to, take the hill. Finally, they've surrounded it like the Indians. You become it. It becomes you. It's so tight and close. You have it within you rather than I want, which you'll never get.
It becomes internal instead of external.
Yeah, nice vocabulary.
Look at that.
We maybe should work together once or twice.
We will. We definitely will.
So let me. So you obviously you enjoy the Arnold every year. Do you enjoy watching the strongman competitions?
Yeah.
Okay.
I enjoyed more not having to be the commentator.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed a lot of them with Clint Richards. The guy was eloquent and just beautiful in his voice, and allowed me to compliment and really help me with timing and all sorts of things. Just a consummate professional. And Colin Bryce was excellent. He was a little too much, but he deserved to be here again and again and again. And instead, last year was really difficult for me, and I was pretty happy that I didn't have to do it this year, because I probably met and I'm going to mentor 10 people. I probably, hopefully that works. I made some good contacts, and I probably met 500 or more of people that really think I'm the shit. Their dad put them in front of the TV when they were kids, and now they're 40 and they have their kids and they're showing them, and they just, the legacy kind of continues.
Yeah.
And it's so nice to see
it's
that
tough
people.
For me because, and I don't mean to cut you off, it's tough for me because you have been the commentator since I was a little kid, and you standing there with the microphone in front of these guys, making them all look small, the ones that are competing. And then I see the strongman this year, and I'm like, where the fuck is Kaz? Like, why is Kaz not? And regardless of how you feel your performance is or not, that should be, it's just as much your stage for us Americans than it is anybody else. It pisses me off.
A few people have said that it's not a strongman show without Kazmaier, because I have tried to stick around. I'm not Capes. I'm not Don Reinhardt. Bruce Wilhelm.
Yeah.
Guy walking around telling everybody else they're fat, and he's fat. But I don't get along with Bruce.
Yeah, I don't tell anybody that. I don't tell anybody that they're fat.
Yeah. So it is what it is, and one door closes, 2 doors open. I'm working with Giants Live all over Europe, and we just did a show which had 12,000 people in the arena, and we filmed it, and the films of the last year have been sold worldwide to 45 countries. The World's Strongest Man show was not. This year we're filming, it was like 4 shows last year, it's 5 shows this year, it'll be 6 arenas next year. Yeah. We have the Log World Championships coming up in April, and then September is another big show.
Yeah.
So
well, why isn't, as a viewer, why can't I watch the World's Strongest Man competition until like 6 months after it happened?
I do not know.
It's the most. I'm sorry, because it pisses me off every year. It's the most
it takes them that long to cut it, edit it, put it together, voice it over, all the components that go with it. when I first started in 77, not only did I have to do the introduction in front of the building, I had to do the voiceover live watching the guys. I introduced the events, and I interviewed the athletes. That's physically impossible. And they did it with me for years to save money. Mm-hmm. And now they split it into two groups of two.
Right.
And then a couple of times into, 2 1-on-1, where, either interviewing the athlete or introducing the events. And now last year was a female. Mm-hmm. And she knows a lot about CrossFit and is from a family of athletes and is an announcer and tried her best to pick up on what's going on in the show, and had never done a strongman event and never won the World's Strongest Man. Yeah. So how could you ask her to know anything about what she's talking about?
Yeah, every time I hear you talk, and you're always giving very sound advice to the viewers, like what they're going through or what you know.
Because you've been there. You know what it feels like.
You've been there. And it's just, to me, it just seems like it's taking a different direction that I'm not really too keen with.
Because I guess the reason I asked that, and what drives me crazy is, when you go, if our viewers or listeners have never been to an Arnold and have never been to one of those events in person, you probably don't understand how amazing it is to see the kind of events that you've done and that the athletes are doing now. If you go to the Arnold and you watch Thor deadlift 1,041 pounds, it's unlike any other sport you'll ever see. And what drives me crazy is that it's not more popular, it's not more widespread than it is. I mean, obviously,
some of that is because when you have an event, you're not going to see it for 6 or 8 months, and by that time, everybody's lost interest.
Exactly, and it drives me crazy that I can't watch strongman more often on TV. Yeah. That it's hard to find.
I completely understand your point, and I have to say I can't feel your pain, because for 20 years, actually about 26 out of 40, I've been on the set.
Right.
So I see it, live it, do it, and all the rest. And with Giants Live, they found the formula. The giant killer, Darren Sadler, who easily could have beat Pujanowski back in China. Pfister beat him in the car carry, which was unheard of. If I wouldn't have been screaming at Pfister, he wouldn't have won that and then won the event. Point being, Colin Bryce, also an alternate and a competitor, and a great guy that works for IMG and does TV stuff, and he's just phenomenal in many, many ways. These two guys started doing shows in a parking lot 6 years ago. Mm-hmm. Now their show is
huge
all over the world, and they'll do 5 events with a dozen athletes in 4 hours in front of 15,000 people.
Yep.
And it will be seen worldwide in a short period of time on TV for years to come. So these guys have figured it out, and it ain't rocket science. But evidently the big conglomerates, with all the genius and their understanding of filmmaking and shows and what is, I think Phil Pfister, he was a commentator for 1 year because he sat in the voiceover room. He's a little bit headstrong. Mm-hmm. He said, I want to make good TV. So he was going to tell them what made good TV, and he wasn't back because you don't tell them what's good TV.
Right.
Evidently they know.
Yeah, evidently.
It's the same reason I get angry and stop watching the Summer Olympics. The Olympics every time it comes around, because I want to watch Olympic lifting.
Yeah.
And then Olympic lifting's on at like 2 o'clock in the morning or something.
So do you like the World's Strongest now they have the football player Aaron? Is it Aaron Phillips? What's Aaron?
Phillips. Yeah.
Do you like his commentary? Some people say he makes mistakes. I enjoy him because I listen to him in football. Right. And I like him as a person. Yeah. And I see him on the set and I know him. Yeah. And I talk to him and try to help a little bit here and there.
To be honest with you, I don't know. Like, to me, who was the smaller guy that you used to announce with?
Todd Harris.
That was a good blend because you had the experience. And then you had a guy that didn't seem to fit in, but didn't say shit at the wrong time either, too much, from what I remember.
Yeah, he was.
I don't see that. There's no experience on the announcing right now. It just feels
I like Mark Henry. I mean, I'll listen to Mark Henry talk anytime, any day, because he's funny and he's knowledgeable.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's still not the same as when you were on the stage.
Never had the spotlight you had.
Right.
Mark Henry never won.
Or experience. And, I mean, I love him like a brother because we were both adopted by Dr. Terry Todd and Jim.
Right.
So.
I think what you're right, though, is that if Pfister maybe could have kept his whatever down, Pfister would have been a good leader off of you because he did that shit. He had that I remember that year, that 1 year he did it, and it seemed like, all right, this is kind of a...
He had this huge smile, a shit-eating grin.
Yeah, he had that TV presence.
Wipe that smile off your face,
man. Strongman experience, you know? Yeah.
So when he beat Pudzianowski, I call Phil Pfister the greatest strongman in the history of the world. Why? Because he shellacked the 5 times world's strongest man, Mariusz Pudzianowski. The Putz.
Yeah. Are you guys not friends?
What is there to like about him?
I don't know. I just remember you guys having to work in the Metz RX booth a little bit together. And I remember you...
He couldn't speak English. Get my food. You order for me. And then a girl comes by and he goes, hey, baby, what's your number? What you doing tonight?
Really?
Oh, he got in a lot of trouble for that.
I just remember.
I knew a dude in college.
I remember it had to have been 10 years ago or more. I'm walking around the Arnold. I'm a freaking nobody. I'm just now getting into my stride and lifting. Maybe close to top 20 in the world, but not the 10s yet. And I walked by the stage to try to get a glimpse of you, and it was like packed like it was every year, so we never got to talk. And you're standing next to Pudzianowski, and Pudzianowski looks like a fucking child. And I was just like, dude, how in the hell? You know what I mean? I just remember you were probably 50 at the time, and it looked like you could just stomp the shit out of everybody around.
Well, you know what?
It was amazing.
We're at one of the shows, and here we are walking back and forth, and he bumped into me. I go, you little prick.
Really?
And then he bumped into me again.
So not an accident.
No. And I said to my wife, who was from my wife at the time, who was from Holland, I said, what's up with this Polish guy? She said, he's been fighting for a slice of bread since he was 2 years old. That's how he is. Yeah. So I told a couple of the guys, man, he's bumping into me. I said, if he bumps into me 5 more times, I'm going to whoop his ass.
Yeah.
And every time he came towards me, I just took a right or a left. I saved him from a good ass whooping that day.
Yeah.
Because I saw him in MMA.
Yeah.
And if I would have known that he was such a wuss, I would have gave him an elbow cranial shot that would have put him in orbit.
Yeah.
I thought your listeners might enjoy that.
That's hell yeah. That's
so nobody liked Pooj.
Yeah.
And he brought it on himself. I mean, you get somebody like Brian Shaw. He's such a nice guy.
Yeah.
Hathor, he loves me. He calls me the greatest or whatever. Hathor calls me Sir and Mister, and all these guys. Jerry Pritchett. I tried to help him from the beginning with his deadlifts in California many years ago, and utmost respect. Now he's lifted these huge weights.
Yeah.
All the top guys are real nice guys.
Mm-hmm. It's great because, I've had the opportunity to kind of work behind the scenes the last couple of years at the Arnold, and it's given me I've always loved strongman, but it's given me an even newfound respect for it, because these guys really there does seem to be a brotherhood. Like they really, it's not just on stage. And one of the things I like this year is when Hathor won on Saturday night, first thing Shaw did was go over and congratulate him.
Well, that was one thing. We were sitting Thor down here on the couch he interviewed on Tuesday. Yeah. And my good friend, I don't know if you know him real well, but Stan Efferding, the IFBB pro that switched over to powerlifting, became the world's strongest bodybuilder.
Right.
Have you met him?
Yeah.
Anyway, he does all of Shaw's and Thor's dieting now, and he was doing Thor first. And he asked Thor when Shaw called him, Thor, is it okay if I do Shaw's diet? And you know what Thor said to him? He said, I want Shaw to be his best because I don't want to beat him if he's not at his best. Yeah, didn't say I want to outsmart him. I'm doing something different than him.
It's got to be really hard for Brian in the last couple of days.
Yeah.
But yesterday at the Record Breakers, I was in the back getting some chiropractic work from Dr. McDougall, who's phenomenal, and works on everybody and helps everybody. And when Brian came past Thor, they knuckle bumped, and it's hard, but they still are cordial. And
well, that's my point. It's not just if you see that on stage, it's genuine. That's the way it is backstage too. And I think, and then yesterday at the Record Breakers, Pritchett was out on the stage helping. Dimitar. Yeah, helping
They're
Dimitar.
Good friends.
Yeah.
They really are good friends.
And
back through the ages, when I was invited back in the late '80s, it was all the Europeans against Kazmaier. Mm-hmm. So in the one carousel, the cart lift, I just did. We had to run the event before, and I'm going, come on. Now we have to do a big deadlift.
Yeah.
And I take one attempt, and I go sit down.
Yeah.
Everybody does all 3 of their attempts, and so I still have attempts to go, and I'm doing a sandbag. I sit there on the curb, and like I'm hurt or something. They load all the weight they can, as close to the handles as they can, because I got an attempt. I pick it up, it's a toy. I could have done it 10 times. And I'm standing there holding it, and I give a 30-second dissertation on strength, what it is, what it takes. So everybody tried to win an event after that, so they gave a speech, And years later, Johnny Perry is over in Malaysia, and Johnny was so frustrated. He came to dinner and he goes, Kaz, what do I do? Nobody will talk to me. Nobody will give me any advice. They act like they hate me. I said, Johnny, welcome to my world. What do you want to know? And so I tried to help him.
So do you feel like it's a lot different now than it was then?
Well, the top guys are making some pretty good money. So, if you're all fighting for a few bucks, there's only a few kernels of corn on the ground.
Yeah, back when you were doing it, back when you were doing it, you guys were all fighting over fucking crumbs.
Pretty much had to,
yeah.
What would you say your gross with your sponsorships and stuff, and let's say your best shape 81, 82? Is that what you felt like your best?
Yeah.
How much do you think you were making a year off of strongman and things around that area? What were you making on that?
Nothing plus the prize money.
No shit.
Because there weren't sponsorships in that, really, right?
No, I made more. 10, 15 years, 20 years ago per year. And still I'm able to make a little bit of a living, which is nice.
Yeah.
I'm approaching that retirement age, right?
Yeah.
I've been retarded for a long time now. I'm going to shift to be retired.
I'll tell you, man. So you live in England now, correct?
Well, I have been. I moved away from Alaska for a few months.
You're kind of a gypsy. You bounce around a little bit.
I have a new name. It's called Tumbleweed.
You ever go back to Alabama?
You running from anybody?
Haven't been there in a while. I'm running from the law, actually.
I know the guy that bought all your equipment down there.
Brian Allen.
I know him.
He's my buddy.
Yeah. He's got one of my belt squads down there.
Yeah.
So I was just interesting because I was like, man,
he's got all my Strive equipment.
I thought Brian Allen was originally full of shit when he's like, man, I got all of Kaz's old gym, and I'm like, who are you?
Yeah.
And then I was thinking,
my buddy.
why would Kaz? I was like, would Kaz sell all that? And I'm like, and then I asked you about it, I think a couple of years ago, and you're like, yeah, it's down there.
Well, when you gotta get out of town fast, you can't.
Then I heard you were off
you.
the grid in Alaska, and then I thought last time I talked to
6
you,
years.
Swiss, you were in England.
Yeah, and I'm back and forth around the world this year. I'm probably busier than I've ever been. I actually have a chance to make my own self happy, which, you got to realize only one person can make that person happy.
Yeah, sure.
You try to make other people happy, I don't know.
Where's your favorite place you've lived?
Well, Alaska last, but now I'm going to the Philippines, and I'm going 2 weeks early, so who knows? I may stay there for a while.
I might have to borrow your place in Alaska because I'm going to have my bike shipped up there next year and ride it home.
Oh, boy.
My Harley.
Be careful.
Yeah. So I want to ride all the way across Canada. I thought that would be
You won't have a weapon, and there's bears, and they will eat you.
It's right here.
I do. Can we get some footage of you fighting a bear? I think that would do well.
It'd be great footage because it'd be my last.
Film stuff.
They're going to do Harambe on me and just put a bullet in my head. But, yeah,
so Alaska's great because you got all sorts of guns.
Then we have to plan when I have my bike shipped up there.
Yeah.
Where are you at?
Our Anchorage? June, July, and August.
Okay.
And this summer I'm going to stay in a motorhome and be a gypsy vagabond. Like I've always wanted to do.
That sounds awesome.
Well, I'll tell you
I see no reason to pay $1,000 a month for an apartment when I haven't been there for.
Well, when I have my bike shipped to Anchorage, we are hooking up and we're going to go do something.
So he'll get a sidecar.
Yeah.
You could be in the sidecar, and if you run across a bear, you two fight them together.
Can I expose myself right now?
Yeah.
And still keep my pants on?
Yeah. That's
okay. I've been fantasizing and looking for the best scooter possible, and I thought, well, when I'm in England, I'm just going to get either up to a 71cc two-wheel scooter.
Like a Vespa?
No, the little board type.
Oh, okay, yeah.
A guy in California is putting 271s on them. Usually they're 50cc or less.
Right.
Yeah.
And then there's electric up to 1,600 watt. That'll go 25 miles an hour for 25 miles.
Really?
Yeah. And then there's all sorts of little fun things like that.
Yeah.
But they're illegal to ride in England. They sell thousands of them. You don't see them anywhere.
Why are they illegal over there?
I don't know. Because they're a mechanically assisted vehicle, which require licensing and insurance.
Huh.
But in America, you can. So, in other countries, they're super popular, and they put neon lights on them, and they ride the boulevard, and they're just great.
Let's get you like a Honda Ruckus. So, you ever seen the Honda Ruckus?
Oh yeah, and have you seen them when they trick them out?
Yeah. Let's get you like a big Ruckus.
Yeah. So I'll ride with you. I'll ride a 50, and you ride. What do you got? 1,200?
Well, I have. Dude, I'm the toy master. So I have a 1978 GS 1000 Suzuki.
Yeah.
I have an 83.5 GS 1150. I have a 2017 Road Glide that's a 114-inch, which is about 2,000 cc. And then I have a 1962 Impala SS.
Nice.
And then I have a 1941 Coupe Hot Rod. Chevy.
Yeah, a little bit of a gearhead.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen 1100 GSXR in a 450 Honda frame?
That is nasty.
I got one.
You got one of those, huh?
Yeah.
I've seen guys stuff that. You've seen my truck out here.
Yeah.
So.
I've got a 1960 Anglia, the one that looks like a 57 Chevy that they used in Harry Potter.
Oh, okay.
It has a 363 Ford motor in it, fully forged. At 450, we can put 300 of nitrous on it. Dang. We use it in the 8th mile in Alabama.
That is impressive.
I've had a Honda Double X.
So you just keep it down in Alabama?
It was some of the stuff there, yeah.
Yeah.
I had a Honda Double X that went 175 miles an hour with 18 teeth on the motor. I put headers on it and dropped a tooth, and all it wanted to do was wheelie.
I believe it.
And my son said to me, "Dad, you know why they wear leathers?" I put him up to it. I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, tell me, Dad." I said, "So they can keep all the bones in one bag." He told me that about 10 times.
How old's your son now?
He's 31, going to be 32.
Okay.
He's doing fantastic.
Where's he at?
He's at Austin University with 2 months to go in his PhD. Well, right now he's in, it's in the Orient somewhere. Yeah. He just sent a picture on Instagram.
Wow.
Where he's
awesome.
That's great.
He's going to go around and change the world.
That's pretty awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, I think we need to get off of here and go get you some food.
That sounds good. Hey, we'll do it again.
We will.
Oh, absolutely. This has been amazing.
Thank you, buddy.
Brother.
Yep.
Thank you so much, sir.
Who's coming in because of dropping heavy shit?
Mm-hmm. So I built a lot of this myself.
Have you?
So that back attack machine is a standing good morning machine, but it's super heavy duty. It's got elevator bearings in it. Of course. So you can't break it.
Inch and a half, 2 inch and a half, 2 and a quarter.
Yep. All quarter-inch steel, stout as shit, you know. Don't squat. Yeah. And then, you lock it down a little bit tighter just for adjustment. But
it was always hard getting the right inside diameter and exterior, but now with the clamps, they did a good job.
Yeah. So tricep bench I use.
How long you been a welder?
Well, my family all grew up welding, so I knew how to do it as a kid.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say I'm the best in the world at it, but I'm good enough to design things, and then I turn it over to people who are better than me.
TIG, MIG, or stick?
I'm a stick guy, but I like MIG. But
here's where my buddies go. Yeah, Bill does stick welding. I built a lot of stuff too. I just love designing.
Oh, it's awesome. That's my belt squat machine that I was telling you about. Yep. Carolina Panthers have these, University of Kansas.
So you went into production?
Yeah, so I made the first one in my garage, and then we've improved upon it. So
I like the metal diamond plate.
Yeah, the cool thing about this is that,
that's amazing.
Say you want to squat your ass off, you have no spotters around.
Yeah, I just go ahead and do it.
Yeah, so we take this, put it wherever you want to bail, you can set it down and get out of it.
Yeah.
Then you got a stopper. So instead of the squat getting stuck at the bottom.
Okay. So truth, what's your best squats outside the rack? No spotters.
Outside the rack, no spotters.
I'm going to give you about 3 of mine.
To be honest with you, I've never had the balls to do it.
775 for 5 sets of 5.
Okay.
Third set, third rep. Got out of the groove. Got my shit back together for the next 2 reps, and then did 2 more sets.
That's pretty nasty. My best is 845 for 2, but that was with spotters.
Yeah.
So
now I don't have video on this shit, but my ex-father-in-law's in the gym. There's nobody there. I got to do my heavy squat.
Yeah.
900 triple outside the rack. Loaded it myself.
Jesus.
Nobody there.
That's crazy.
It was a frightening fucking experience.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Do or die.
Well, especially in those old bars, they were real flexy and bendable. Yeah. So we got dumbbells up to 150s, and then I got kettlebells up to 115s. I'm working on getting bigger ones, but you have to make them because nobody really has them anymore. I built some stuff up to 156.
Yeah. And then we went ahead and just broke a small set down, welded a nub on, and welded another plate on for 165s.
Nice.
I was able to do those for 5 overhead, as you know.
Yeah, that's a bench I make.
Yeah.
The cool thing about that bench is that it didn't really have a lot in your day.
3x3?
Yeah.
Where are you drilling it? You got pretty good presses and stuff?
Yeah, they got laser cutters and stuff now.
Geez.
You know what I mean?
You just tell somebody what you want, and they send it to the shop.
Laser it.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's not like the old days, you know. So that bench is really cool because you see those stainless T handles?
Yeah.
You take them, you pull them out. It's all bearing clearance, so it's super tight clearance, and you can run a fat pad and change it in 20 seconds.
Oh yeah.
So you don't have to do anything. Watch this. So, and it's got all bracing and super solid, and then you can put a fat pad in. So then if you want to have a different feel, a little bit more like a floor press.
We didn't know what a fat pad was.
Yeah. You know,
Fat pad had an extra quarter-inch of foam.
I've never used them, but there's a lot of guys that like them, the better they feel them better. That's my custom vertical leg press. Yeah. So I don't know if you ever used those a lot when you were training, but
we did have that kind of stuff, but it was compacted with so much. We stopped using it. This guy started loading the plates, right? And ours was a little bit lower and stuff. And he's loading hundreds. And all of a sudden, he drops one and starts screaming. He got his bell end stuck in the between the plates.
What?
And he goes, oh! Chopped his dick off.
Jesus!
Yeah. So we kind of stopped using that machine because it was too somewhat dangerous.
Yeah, and that's what we're working on right now. We use it to do warm-ups.
It's so compressed.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel, but when you start doing knees to chest, everything's scrunched under heavy load. It's like potential injury, of course.
Oh, yeah, for sure. What we do is we go down far enough to where the back starts to want to turn, and then that's as far as we go. So it's probably about an inch below parallel, but we don't go berserker deep.
Yeah.
Just enough. So
what do you got for like decline? Are you a big decliner? Because
I am.
My favorite exercise in the whole wide world for triceps for bench press used to be salt and pepper shakers.
Oh, yeah.
Easy bar flats. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Up to, you can call them calves press.
Yeah.
Up to 4 plates, 4.5 plates for sets of 20.
Yeah.
And but when I tore the pectoral and deltoid off the bicep, I couldn't do that anymore. But I could go decline.
Yeah.
So 10-inch grip, decline. You stand above me.
Yep.
Of course, you're looking down the bar.
Right.
Lower arm, my upper arm are all in a straight line. You put your hand where I'm supposed to hit.
Yep.
And it's boom, boom, boom. Full stretch, full flex. It's none of that. No joint.
Gotcha.
Just tricep. But I got some really good work.
So we use that incline. You can see I modified and put an extra stick of extra T on the end of it. So I'm in that son of a bitch, and I got 585. I'm going to do a triple with it. Getting ready to bench 611 at 135 pounds.
Decline?
Decline.
Okay.
So I take it out, and that damn thing starts to tilt because I got so much overhead weight. So I welded that extra. I had to weld that extra T on there because I was going to snap myself in half.
Okay, I got a welding story for you then. This guy builds this 185cc go-kart.
Yep.
And I like it. So I want it. And I'm like...
And you fit in it.
Yeah, well, no, here's the story. So I grab two 250 motors and I tell him to swap them.
Okay.
He puts one of the 250s on it and we're out riding it, but we go out to the track one day and he goes the wrong way.
Okay.
So he goes around the current turn, he goes up high, he rolls over once, twice. He's like 150 pounds, but he's the welder. And the designer was his cart.
Yeah.
But I'd bought it, so bring it back to the pit, get it ready. I go the right way. So I don't know when to tell you the punchline because I went round and round and round, and I'm just throwing this thing around. I'm having a ball. It's got like 5 gears.
Yeah, fast.
40 horse. I'm coming into the pit, so I goose it, but I go too far, and I catch the lip like your rubber right here, and I flip.
Oh man!
I'm scraped across the shoulder and my head.
How old were you when this was going on?
Oh, this is during the powerlifting days.
So like 78?
Yeah, in through there.
Okay.
No, it'd be like 80, yeah, right in around 80.
Okay.
That day, he said, we need to put a roll bar on it.
Yeah.
Before we took it to the track. He took 3 pieces of steel and went about 8-9 inches, 6 across and back down, right above my head, right behind my shoulders.
Right.
Because if he wouldn't have done that, I would have snapped my neck.
Oh yeah, big time
that day. So I can understand your extension and it saved your life.
Oh yeah, it saved my life. I tipped it back and it was coming. Oh man, it was scary.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Let's sit down and shoot a podcast. This will be fun.
Thank you for joining us for part 3 of our sit down with Bill Kazmaier. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube and iTunes. We have some great podcasts coming in the future. Also, don't forget to go to wenningstrengthmedia.com for all of your training needs. And again, use discount code KAZ, that's K-A-Z, for a 15% discount on all purchases.